Hi guys, welcome to episode 7 of my final year diaries. Yeah, I'm back again. In the previous video we did this crazy math logic thing on that you are seeing on the screen right now. This voltage source thing. By the end we were able to actually draw the voltage source. Like we were able to draw it and put it on the scene, but we were not actually able to connect the edges and all of that. This is a code that we use for that, and this is how the video ended. Right? I'm just ending this now. Drawing back the terminal, drawing down the terminal. Is that how to even say that thing? Anyway, the crazy code that we wrote for the drawing the voltage sources right here. Everything works. Now we just have to make sure that it works like an actual component. As in the terminals work. When you hover over the terminals, something happens. All of those things. That is would be quite straightforward for us to do. So that's what this video is for. Very short video to just allow us to finish up the voltage source, and from there we try and work on our middleware stuff, trying to get the data from our our schematic, whatever schematic that the person will draw. So first of all, I want us to do this hover terminal thing, so that when you hover over the terminal, you'd actually see something drawn around the terminal, so that you see that it's an actual terminal. It's fancy, but it should actually work, right? So for that, basically just going to copy what's in the register code. I'm going to copy what's in the register code, and I'm going to put that down here. Now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like there's code repetition, right? So why don't I just add these stuff to my general component, so that it would be easy for me to it would be easy to actually use it from there, right? So I'm going back to the general component. Where is it? General component. And so inside the init of the general component, I'm just going to set these stuff there. For example, the flag to make the thing movable, and the flag to the fact that I have to accept hover event, and then for me to have a hover terminal, all of these things, and then for me to make sure that whenever there is a component moved signal, I connect that to the self.update. I'm going to move all of these to moving all of this into the init function of our general component, so that everything would be simpler. Which means that for the resistor 2, I could just remove all of this and everything should still work. So some code cleanup, right? And well, that basically is right. So the only thing we really need to do is to define this hover thing over here. And if you actually look at it, this function for actually making sure that we get the hover terminal and all of that gibberish, it's actually something that we can do, right? What I mean is that it's something that we can put in the general component, because it's basically the same thing I'm going to write for the voltage source. You get wherever the person has hovered over, then you find the closest terminal, right? You find the closest terminal, and then you try and check to see if there's an actual closest terminal. If there's no closest terminal, you don't do anything, but then you basically check and make sure that you see this will end up calling the self.updates, which will end up calling the paint, and then you would make sure that if there is a hover terminal, this will be drawn, right? So all of this, this code for writing this, why don't I just move this code to the general component code, so that everything will be easier, right? But then that would mean that this find closest terminal thing too should be part of the general component, right? So which would mean that by that time we should have what this gets terminal position, because the find closest terminal uses that, right? So I think that I'm going to move all of this from here to here, from here to here. And honestly, even the bounding rectangle, why am I not moving that? Because it's basically the same thing, right? Because if I set height and width, but then I have not actually set the height and width and stuff like that. So let's take it one at a time. Moving this to the general component. Graphics, hover event, and this stuff. I think I can get that here. What else? I need the optional here. Yeah, Q line F, Q line F, Q line F. Also got that, right? So the only thing that we really need to implement is this thing, and as long as this is implemented, everything else should work, right? As long as this is implemented, everything else should work. Then if you look at the register too, this thing about, you know, when you click on, so whenever there's a mouse press event, we get a position of the click thing, and then we see if it's actually a terminal that you clicked, right? If it's a terminal that you clicked, then you raise the terminal clicked error. Sorry, that's erase the terminal clicked error. You raise the terminal clicked signal, and this will basically emit the unique ID and the terminal index that was clicked. And I think that we can also send this up there, and then the mouse move event, which basically moves, like send the mouse moved signal. All of this should actually be part of the general component. So we also need to import the mouse move event here, and we are good to go. These three not being used. Yeah, actually, all of these are not being used. Right. So just opening up this so that we actually see what's happening here, right? If you take the general components, like all of these things it's a matter of general components, right? And if you look at what is here, this terminal position is the only thing that varies. As long as you're able to get the terminal positions, we can like do all of these stuff. So I think putting everything in the general components makes it so much easier and makes the code cleaner. So the general component has the functionality and stuff, and the actual component basically just has the drawing. This should work, right? This should work. So let's try it out and see. Running the app again to see if it works. Of course, got an error. They are saying function never gets called. Runtime error, superclass init blah 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 doesn't get called. Why? This is what happens when you move a lot of code and you don't even know which one is causing the trouble. Wow. But it happened when I set the flag. Oh right, I should actually call this before I try to set the flag. I think that's what's happening. Let's see if that's the problem. So I'm trying to call it at the top and try it again. Hopefully it works this time. All right, it's there, but the hover doesn't work. Qt is not defined. Well, that means that some things I didn't import some things, right? All right. From pyqt 6 dot qt. Wait, I think I should actually import qt from here. Qt. Not there. Is that all? Okay. This is getting weird. The fact that this is not working. The hover is working on the register, alright, but it's not working on. Oh yeah, I know why. Because the register actually has this drawing the circle of the hover terminal, right? So what I'm going to do is to move this code from here, like drawing of the terminal being hovered, moving it from here to the general component. define paint. And you guys, let me move everything here, so that you guys can see the thing fully. This. So I'm defining the paint function as part of the general component, but I'm not going to add anything apart from the fact that it should draw a circle around the hover terminal if there is some. So if there is a hover terminal, it should draw a circle around it. That's all. Apart from that, everything else will be the same. So what I'm going to do is that in all my components, in my resistor components for instance, before I actually draw, I'm going to call the super.paint first and pass in was the normal painter option and widget here. Given that is the only thing I actually use, Q painter. I'm defining a type for it so that it would, I don't know, it would make sense. And inside this to how to import the Q painter, right? Not using this. From pyqt 6 dot qt GUI import Q painter, and I'm going to remove this and this. I mean, I'm not actually using them. I don't write a type for them and to just make the code very long for no reason, right? So I need Q pen too. Removing these two, and that should be it, right? So I'm calling this, and I'm going to do the same thing inside the voltage source component too, so that whenever you call the paint function, it would try and paint first. It will try and like draw the hover thing first. Also removing this because I feel it's useless, right? So let's try that again. I'm actually surprised I'm able to debug this, because usually when problems come like this, I don't know what to do. Yeah, so this is happening, and I think we can connect, right? So click on wire, connect this and this. Oops. Connect this and this, right? Connect this. Oops, mistake, but at least it was connected, right? I should actually have like an undo or something. And yeah, the printing of the so you let me put a normal voltage source somewhere and a resistor too somewhere, and then having these two, try and draw a normal circuit. So wire from here to here and wire from here to here. Yes, this is a circuit. Yay! And you can see the circuit nodes being written in the terminal here, right? So if you look here, we have what? Node 0, which is having voltage source terminal 0 and resistor 1's terminal 0, voltage source 0's terminal 1 and resistor 1's terminal 1. Yes, so this actually works, like the components actually work, right? So now we have a voltage source and a resistor, and so now we are doing the middleware and the simulation backend things. We know that you can actually build a complete circuit for something to actually work, right? So Should this be it for this video? I've also noticed something. I've been sending the components count to the components, and you realize that there are only two components. It should actually be register 0 and voltage source 0, but because the resistor was the second component, it counted that as register 1 instead of register 0. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. I'm just like counting the total number of components. It would still make it unique though, but then it wouldn't make it unique with respect to the resistor. Like the count is everything. So this is 0 and this is 1, but it's still all good though, right? Still all good. What I think we need to actually do here is to add a few more things to our architecture, right? So what we need here, we need to add the fact that all of our components have these. All of our components highlights terminal on hover. I forgot to add that. And if you look at the general components again, it has more stuff, right? All our general components are draggable. Component is draggable. And what else is there? All our components send signals on terminal clicks. I guess that's all for now, right? For our voltage source, first, positive terminal is at index 0, and negative terminal is at index 1. I guess that's all. I'm going to be removing this rough math calculation thing that we did here, because why not? I mean, it's still in the video, so I still have it. I'm going to save all of this to Simit architecture. Yes, replace what's already there. So yeah, I mean, there isn't any difference in our architecture at the moment. We are able to draw circuits, and we are trying to like connect everything here to the middleware. Then maybe there'll be a simulation backend, right? But for now, I'm really glad that we are able to do this. We are able to get the circuit nodes. We did that a couple of videos back, and we've added a voltage source, we've added a resistor, and with these two components, I think we can like start thinking about how we are going to simulate, or should I say simulate? Yeah, how we're going to simulate, get data from the circuit and simulate. And if you notice that somehow this part disappears, the line disappears, even though it's actually connected. I don't know why. I've been trying to look into that for a long time now, but I've not got any solution. Then also you realize that when I hover over a terminal, the circle is never complete. It's like a moon or a semicircle sort of thing. Sorry, there's some noise in the background. Yeah, and I think that's because I should actually add some padding to the whole component so that the circle would be complete. And how I'm going to do that, I'm not thought about it yet. I don't know if it's possible to just add padding like straightforward and be like, oh, we should add padding to it. You understand what I'm trying to say? But without the padding, the circle is always going to get cut, because our component begins at exactly the middle, like exactly the beginning of the width and the height thing that we set. So like there's no room to actually complete the circle. It's always be a semicircle. But that's like a minor thing that we can fix another time, right? So guys, that's it for this particular video. I think I would now say that we are done. I'm going to commit this code. Like I'm actually committing the code right now. Git status. Yes, git add, git commit, and our commit message will be what? Create or design or draw, draw, create, develop, create. Voltage source component complete or something. I just say voltage source component, and code restructure. That's like in terms of the general components thing that we did. Yep, I'll push later. Right now, this is what we're having. So proud of the work we've done, guys. So as long as the sub component implement this gets terminal position, everything else should be fine, right? Everything else should be fine. Code is looking cleaner. Not a lot of lines of code, but it's still fine. Yeah, so guys, that's it for this particular video. I thank you guys for watching. As usual, you guys should connect with me on Twitter. Let's like interact. Trevini44 on Twitter, or everywhere for that matter. And that's it. Peace out. We'll do more work on this later. That's it for episode 7. Cheers.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round. Welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly. Thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait.